Alrighty, hi guys. So I just kind of make this random video. I was asked by the new construction teacher to build them some racks for these hard hats. Okay, so I thought I might show you my thought process and how I go about fabricating things, or just this one thing. So I was looking at these, and I was trying to figure out how to get as many on here as I can. It doesn't really matter if I stagger them; it's gonna be the same spacing between. So the first thing I'm going to do is get them on here. Evenly, okay? So it's about as close as I can get them without them touching, okay? I'm going to mark the center of it. So now I know my spacing, okay? I'm going to measure that. And it's about 8 and 15/16, so I'm just going to bump it up to 9. That way it's even, okay? So I know that it's 9 inches in between each hook that I need. So what I'm going to do is come in 1.5 inches, just to give me a good start. Okay, I'm going to take my combination square, since it'll be a little bit easier to just put my 0 and mark it 9. So line it up with the one mark I made. Mark it 9, butt it up to the one mark I made, mark it 9. All the way down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hooks. And it's not too bad. 7 hooks per strip isn't bad. So to make this thing more even, you probably can't tell, but so I have that at 1.5 inches. Down here, I got 4 5/8 at the end of it. So I'm gonna make a mark at 1.5 inches. So I've got to mark at 1.5 inches where I can cut it. Put it down, and it's exactly 57. So we'll come down here, make a line 7, and I'll know where to chop it in a minute. Okay. So I'm going to take my combination square and make sure, because I know for a fact this line is straight. Okay. So I'll come down and I'll just make a line all the way down at all of my lines, okay? We're doing all my measuring off of this side so that because I don't know if whoever sheared it, maybe didn't shear it straight, so I want to come off of the non-sheared side, okay? So then, this is 6 inches wide. I want to leave about 2 inches at the top, just for a little bit of a strip. So 6 minus 2 would be 4. You probably won't be able to see this, but I have the 4 mark right here, okay? I'm going to put this up to my flat side and just make a mark across all of my lines, okay? That way all of my hooks are at the exact same height. It'll look a lot neater. Now, before I throw these hooks on here, I'm going to go ahead and shear that one end. That way I don't run into an issue with hooks in the shear stop. So I'm going to go shear that real quick. I'm not going to move the camera since I know I have it set up where I want it set up. Alright, so I've got this thing set to an even length. Okay, so I'll have 7 hooks on here. I'm going to be MIG welding it on there today. Just because I don't go through the process of all the cleanup that would be needed to TIG weld it. It would look nicer if I TIG welded it, but since it's just a simple little project, I'm not going to go through all that. I've got my machine set up on my normal settings, so 18.5, 180 on the wire speed. Okay, press clamps on, make sure the gas is on. Yes, on. I might run out of wire before I finish this one, so if I do, I'll use this as an opportunity to go over how to change the wire. But we'll see. Okay. Make sure that my nozzle is all cleaned up. It's a good practice habit to grab a piece of like scrap metal and try to run a bead first. That way you know everything's set up properly. Like I had the gas on, but I didn't purge it to make sure that I have the correct flow settings. So I'm just going to run a quick little bead on here, make sure that it's all running proper, then I'll work on my workpiece, okay? So I know that the gas is on, wire's good, everything's good, okay? So I take these hooks, and the way I made these hooks, one side's longer than the other by about a ½ inch, so I'm just gonna make sure that the short side is facing up, okay? I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna hold it, I'm gonna look over top of it, line it up with my straight line, line up the middle with my X or my plus mark, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to tack on one side, and it's going to, the heat, once the weld starts cooling down, okay, it's going to cancel one side. So what I'm going to do is after it's tacked, I'm going to weld the other side, and it'll pull it straight, okay? And then I'll double check it and knock it straight if I need to. So I'm just going to go through. So it's canted over just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is we're going to weld around this side, and I'm going to weld around the other side, and it should end up straight. I'm just going to do that for all 7 little hooks. kind of tedious part, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Oh, ran out of wire. Okay, so I'll wrap this up real quick. All right. So let me make sure I can see everything. So this is a wire thing. You can see it's empty. Okay, there's no wire running into my machine. So what you gotta do is you gotta squeeze that, remove this safety clip, okay? But don't lose it, so I'm gonna set it right there. Take this old one off and just I'll just throw it away. You can say if you want to, I don't really need to. Okay. Then we're gonna release the tensioning on the drive rollers. I'm going to twist this a little bit and pull out the gun. Okay, you can see just a little stub of wire on there. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble the actual MIG torch. So make sure that you can see this. Nozzle screws off. Okay, you can pull out the old wire and just toss it or save it for TIG wire. It makes really good TIG wire. If you need like 035 TIG wire for like little fine projects. Okay, so I'm not going to save it though, so I'm just going to ball it up and throw it away in the wire bin. And then I'm going to take off my tip, or my contact tip. Okay. Sometimes they kind of get stuck on there. That's why we got the Welpers. It's got this handy little spot on there where you can just fit it right over, give it a little twist, and it's broken loose. Okay. So now that my gun is all broken apart, I'm going to go grab another spool of wire, unwrap it, and then I'll show you how to put it on. Okay. So depending on what kind of MIG wire you have, you usually buy them in like pound. This is 50 pounds worth, so you'd be kind of on a steady surface wherever you get it open. It's being difficult today. This has been sitting on the shelf for a little over a year because the glue's all. Sorry. quick. I'm going to try to word this the best I can. So here you can see maybe like the end of my wire. Okay, it goes into the side here. Okay. So right now this is going over the roll. If it was going the other way, it'd be coming out from underneath the roll. Okay. So I'm going to look at where the wire goes into in relation to where the spool is. Okay. So I see that it's coming up at an angle. Okay. So that means I'm going to have the wire coming over the top of the roll and feed into that. Okay. If this was more level, I'd have it come from the bottom. Okay. So you just have to look at that and see which orientation you need the wire from. Okay? Also, there's this like little knob on here. Okay, that's going to go into here, and that's going to keep your roll from either continuing to unroll when you stop or roll backwards. So you just have to make sure that little hole goes with that little peg every single time, okay? So, got my wire coming over the top, okay? You have to remember to put this back on here, okay? If you don't, as you're welding, okay, your spool of wire is going to slowly work its way off and fall off. And then you'll have thousands of feet of this thing unspooling all over the place, okay? It makes a huge mess. It's dirty. It's a big waste of wire because there's really no way to save the wire after you do that. So you have to make sure that you pinch those in, slide it in, and then you can't get it off. So there's no way for that spool of wire to fall off there. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is get you kind of closer to see what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm going to grab this, hold on to it pretty tight because I don't want this thing unspooling. Okay. I'm going to snip this end off and throw away that piece later. Okay. So I've got the end of the wire. If I were to let go of this, it would just start unspooling. So I'm going to feed it through this little brass piece, or whatever this is, down here, that guides it, okay? So once it's in there, it's usually pretty good. So then I've got to feed it through that piece into that piece, through that piece into this end piece, okay? Which is it's a lot easier said than done. Sometimes you'll need like a screwdriver, but that's also why I fully disconnect my gun. It saves you from having to try to feed it through the end of your gun. So usually what I do is I try to just go kind of slow. So I got that through on my first try. It'll go through that one, and then I have wires sticking out down there. Reset my drive rollers. I'm not going to mess with the tension since the tension was good, okay? So I'm not going to twist those since it was already set, okay? Then I'm going to take the end of the wire and feed it through the end of my MIG torch. Make sure that it's seated all the way up. Right here you can see some O-rings, okay? If those aren't seated properly, then your gun's not going to have any gas, okay? That's what keeps the gas from this part into your torch, okay? If you don't have those O-rings pressed up there properly, it's going to put your gas outside of your MIG gun, and you don't want to be welding without gas. It's nasty, okay? Just retighten that so that it doesn't slip out, and I'm good to go, okay? Now, make sure you close that. You don't want no dust and stuff to get in there. This next part I'm going to do, with that over here, I'm going to hit this jog button, okay? So the jog is going to jog the wire through, okay? And the whole time I'm going to be just kind of wiggling this around a little bit, okay? There's a couple steps in here where it goes from kind of small to another kind of small area, but it's not like continuously. Okay, so if the wire's going through there and it snags on one of those, it's going to bird nest in my gun, in my drive roller assembly area. So I'm just going to kind of kick that a little bit while I'm jogging it. Okay, I'm not going to press the trigger because I'd be wasting my gas. So I'm just going to jog it. Usually, once it gets to a certain amount of time held down, it'll pick up the speed in your jog. On most machines, this one doesn't seem to be doing that. So we're going to try to hold this as straight as I can, no kinks, no wraparounds. I'm just going to hold the jog until I see the wire come out the end of my gun. Okay, so I've got the wire at the end of my gun. I'm going to put on my contact tip back on. That just slides over my wire. Screws in, just get it snug. Be good time to clean up my nozzle if I needed to. Okay, and we're good to go. Okay, so now I'll move it back over there somehow. And continue welding. So you can see that was fairly quick to change the gas. Don't forget to get rid of all of your combustibles. So I'm not going to weld with this cardboard box right there. I don't want to start a fire, so I'm going to throw this away real quick. Okay, so now I only have 2 left, so I'll knock those out real quick. Okay, so that's this hat rack. So last thing we're going to do is just a quality thing. Okay, I'm going to take my square and set it up high enough that I can miss my weld. Okay, and so like this I know for a fact that this is square to the table. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through one side. See that it needs whacked a little bit. Square that way. Square that way. So I now know that those are all square. So I'm just gonna throw it in this thing just to hold it. Let's see what it looks like. We'll skip that one. Normally there'd be a wall there so that you couldn't do that. Okay. And now I'll show you what the finished product can look like. So once this is mounted to the wall, okay, they'll be able to go through, put their hard hats on there with very little wasted room. Okay, it'll look nice and even. All of the hard hats will fit, so 7 will fit on here. So for 100, I'll need, what is that, 14.2. So I'll make 15 of these, which is like one last ones, but I thought I could turn this into a teaching moment. So you can see all of the hooks are even in the same spot. Okay, now it's all a little bit longer, shorter, longer, shorter, longer, shorter, all the way down there. There's just enough room on there for the hard hat. Okay, so there's no wasted material. And yeah, so that's generally how I go about fabricating things. There was a little bit more involved in making these, but I already cut them and binged them all. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and have a good day.